books are, my favorite books are about history and leadership. And then there's some more recent how-to books on leadership that I like. But I tend to just like leadership themes in general. And the second is, probably sound crazy, I'm a big fan of classic English literature. I love poems. Like my favorite piece ever was Paradise Lost by John Milton. It's just got great quotes that I think apply to leadership today. And by the way, also Sun Tzu, The Art of War. So I love those pieces. But in terms of the specific books, the things that I like Built to Last and Good to Great, both by Jim Collins, because I think they have fundamental lessons that continue to apply to every single platform shift and every business environment we're in. I think those are wonderful books. One that I read that was more contemporary, and I have it on my bookshelf, is The Wisdom for a Young CEO. Now, how many of you have read the book? The author's name is Douglas Berry, and Douglas Berry was a middle school student, so he wasn't even in high school. And he had, since he was a kid, always wanted to be an archaeologist. And his mother was in investment banking in New York, and his father was a doctor. And one day he was watching the Discovery Channel, and he discovered that people dug for dinosaur bones in the hot sun for years and never found one. And so he went to his mom and dad and said, I don't think I want to be that hard working anymore as an archaeologist. I think I want to be a CEO instead. And so he asked him, this is in the prologue, he said, how do you become a CEO? And so his mother, as the wiser one in the house, for all the women here, I'm playing to the audience, said, well, why don't you do some research? So the kid, instead of going online and Googling, looked up the addresses and the names of the S&P 500 CEOs and wrote them a letter and asked them, what does it take to be a successful CEO? And the book is all their letters photocopied in there. Steve Jobs wrote back, all the people, Jeff Immelt, and what's amazing is all their letters are incredibly thoughtful and vulnerable. And at the very end, almost every one I'm finished with, and by the way, will you do me a favor? Will you send me a copy of everybody else's letters so I can find out what they think? And it's really cool. So this whole book is literally like a chapter, and this kid wrote like a one paragraph of his summary of what he learned from this chapter, and then every page is another letter from the CEO. And I think that's a cool book, because what it really does is talks about vulnerability again. I mean, you're reading Jobs and ML, and they tell you a couple wonderful stories like Steve Jobs does. My dad was a woodwork carpenter and taught me the back of the cabinet meant as much as the front of the cabinet. That's why when you open up an Apple product, it's as pretty inside as it is outside. And then he says, by the way, will you share with me what everybody else says? So everyone's wanting to learn from each other. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Those are my